Hello again, everyone. Here we are again. It's what is it? It's December. I know that. What's the day? It's a Saturday. It is what's the day numbers? COVID. I don't know day numbers anymore.
It's the 12th.
12th. Okay. 12th. Really? Wow. Okay. And here we are, sliding at you faster than the chair after a Tommaso Ciampa promo, the Monkey Flip Podcast. And we missed you. This is awesome. It's our second one back from our hiatus, and it's probably going to be a short one. And with me to my left is my co-host, Hank Calhoun. Just as quiet as always, I see. All right, okay. And, of course, across from me, my other co-host and the man, Hammer. We'll get to Pat McAfee. We'll get to Pat McAfee. I promise. We'll get to Pat McAfee. Just okay. Bring it back to me. Okay. And also with me, as every time I'm anywhere, my lovely wife Sheila. She's the producer of the show. You're gonna be quiet too. You're not gonna say anything. Let's get to the show. As always, we didn't prepare. I watched wrestling. I watched it all. With the Wednesday, I kind of said, Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, and I was just like, I'll just watch it on Thursday. So I watched it on Thursday, but I watched it. We were 100% correct about what kind of show NXT was going to put on at War Games. That show was packed with good stuff. I can't. That's a lie. I can complain about a lot of stuff, but those are the minor things. The major things, that show went off without a hitch, and you've got a lot of people, I think, from that, from NXT, what they were saying was there's a lot of people that are injured from that, and I guess that's kind of the kind of show that you could say that those injuries were for a good purpose. That show was awesome, I got past that, and I watched Raw, and Raw was just lackluster, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair for me to expect a lot of Raw right now, because, I'm seeing all these matches over and over again, and we've talked about it time and time again. We're seeing the same things over and over again, the same guys over and over again, and I don't think it's fair. I think it's really, and this is a cliche that people use nowadays, that it's COVID that's causing this. That's just a unfortunate part of our life right now. Even with AEW does some things with the people they have, but it's so new, those people that they have, they can mix it up a little bit, and it's not as boring. I think everybody's doing the best that they can. So I don't think it's fair for me to say that Raw is horrible because they just keep giving us the same thing over and over, and I really don't have a choice. I think they're doing really well for giving us the same thing over and over again. They're giving us Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, which right now I think are the two best heel combination in the business for the ladies. Does anybody like Hank? Hank or Hammer? Anything for no objections? Cool, that must be true. Well, let me address that. Let me address what's going on here. Hank could not make it today, and Hammer could not make it today. Family issues and things like that. And it's made me, like, when we went through the first problem where Sheila and I picked up some sort of virus, it wasn't COVID. It was just some sort of the regular type virus that you pick up. But in my estimation, if we're doing everything that we can to keep from getting COVID, we maybe shouldn't have picked that virus up. So it's kind of a scary thing. It really is to see you can actively try to not pick this up, to the best of your ability, and still pick something up. And that something could have been, if it was just right place, right time, could have been COVID. Also, we had a guest, and he pretty much said, fuck COVID. I'm not doing any of this stuff. I'm still meeting people. I'm still doing whatever I've got to do. I'm not wearing a mask. And quite frankly, that was scary. For that person, I'm afraid for that person that they might get sick, but I'm also afraid for the person that person goes around and unwittingly, and this dude would never, ever purposely get someone sick. It's just something in his mind that he thinks that this is all a hoax, and they're out there. People know they're out there. This is a hoax. This isn't really going on. This is something formulated by the government. I even heard someone really close to me say that we saw the Obama thing where he was addressing that we really needed to put in some sort of pandemic response just in case something like exactly this happens. And then I saw them say, oh, well, he did something then to make this happen to prove his point. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? How far deep into insanity do you have to go to imagine that scenario where someone would do that to say, haha, I was right? Just not something. You got to keep people honest. If those type of people are coming around you, tell them they can't come around, or don't have them come around, or just be a ghost, that kind of thing. But anyway, off of that and onto a more somber note, I really don't remember a lot of the rest of, like, AEW. I know Kenny Omega beat Jon Moxley, and then he ran out the door with Don Callis and said that they were going to appear on Impact the following week. And then I watched Impact to see that, which, fuck you for making me watch Impact. Fuck you. I don't want to watch Impact. If I wanted to watch Impact, I'd watch it. I mean, I keep saying the excuse and I don't know where it is. And literally, until they said that, I don't know where it is. It's like, I want to see what he says on Impact. I'm pretty sure they're going to replay it on AEW, but just in case, I want to go on. I want to watch Impact. And I found out that they stream their show on Twitch at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. And then I'm like, okay, I watch wrestling on Monday for 3 hours. Now I'm going to watch wrestling on Tuesday for 2 hours, and then Wednesday for 4 hours, and then Thursday's the only day that I get a break because Friday, 2 more hours. And then I throw in, if I'm watching Impact, I should be watching Ring of Honor and MLW and some of the other things that I really like. MLW, I'd never really heard of until I think Hank said something about it. And I was like, what's MLW? I'd never heard of it. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm not like die hard. I'm going to find any promotion that has a key to the public access place and can throw their show on that way. But not saying that I wouldn't, not saying that those are bad, just saying, I wanted to keep it. I got a job. It's a pretty demanding job. So, especially this week, not gonna get into that, but yeah, watched wrestling. I can't really remember much about AEW. I know the Bucks started the show off against someone. Who do you remember who the Bucks started off the show against?
I think their abbreviated name is TH2.
Oh, yeah. Jack, I'm not even going to try. No, not going to try.
No.
And that's nothing against those guys. It's my brain doesn't collect that information to that point. That's why I have co-hosts. Yeah, what's their name, Hank? Not doesn't no Hammer? What? At all? Okay, no, we didn't. It's nothing against those guys.
No,
they're probably good. I watched the match, and that seemed like a really good match. They had the standard things that Young Bucks match have. They have to get in certain specific things. And then they have some things that I look at, I'm like, that just not a real good move to me. But I'm learning, I'm growing as a person. I am stopping that portion of my brain. I am looking at it for how entertained I was versus how it fits towards what I think a regular wrestling match would be. So I'd say that was a good match. I enjoyed watching that. As a matter of fact, if I'm thinking back and trying to pick out a match, that one stands out, so that makes something good. Right? If it stands out, it's good. That stood out. So, yay. Then NXT, coming off of that match, not the match, even the night, the women's portion of the War Games was good. It got crazy because every girl had to stop and get a weapon to bring in with her. And, of course, here's some kendo sticks. Because kendo sticks are cracking me up. I'm ready to start a bingo card with like kendo stick and all the things that you'll see in a wrestling match that make it like close to main event wrestling match. And they started the night off with the girls' War Games match so they could stagger it, start with something hot, put in some things that might not be that hot, and then come back with the men's, and could have went the other way. Men's could have been first, women's could have been last.
Yeah.
Still good stuff, and all of them had great times in there. It looked really, really good.
But I wouldn't say that the 2 War Games matches were the match of either one of them was the match of the night. I think that when I believe that it was the Ciampa match.
Ciampa
Thatcher.
Ciampa and Thatcher. Not only was that a good match, it stayed along the lines of what I would believe is a standard wrestling match. They wrestled against their abilities and not the craziness. Not, I have to go out and find something, some kind of gimmick to use or anything like that. I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah, it really
Tommaso Ciampa is really high on my list. Thatcher is there because he's an old school type guy who just wrestles it out. Works really well for me. I can't say anything negative about that entire show. I mean, the ghost face things that we saw on NXT this week it started to get weird, and I started to mention, here's the guys that were furloughed off of Retribution when they had 40 people that were running out. Now they're in ghost face masks, so at least they got a job, so good on them. But then it came back, and it was what's his name, Austin Theory, that was the ghost-faced guy. And I'm like, it works really well. And they did that very well. They literally said Austin Theory, and he's like, I quit, and he gets in the fucking van, and you do not hear from him again until that moment. And that's incredible. Yeah. Great work that way. And when he showed up, I'm like, oh yeah, Austin Theory. Yeah, that makes sense now. That's pretty cool that they did that. Every time they showed somebody in a mask, it looked like Velveteen Dream to me.
Yeah.
So maybe something more will come from the ghost face mask. Who knows? But it really looked like Velveteen Dream all the time. And you haven't seen the Dream on TV. Don't know. Somebody out there probably, well, you haven't seen him because of this. That dumbass. You'd known it if you'd have read the dirt sheets. Don't do it. I don't want to do it. I want to be surprised. I want when he pulls that mask off and go, oh, hey, Austin Theory. Yeah. Wow, they did really well. Not every week I'm like, when's Austin Theory coming out? When's Austin Theory coming out? When's Austin Theory coming out? I mean, we already had the worst hid secret in the world, which was Mia Yim was, what do they call her on WWE? On Retribution?
Reckoning.
The Reckoning. Not even The Reckoning. Reckoning.
It's just Reckoning.
Yeah, we had the worst, like she's in the ring for 5 seconds, her mask flips off, and nobody gives a shit. She doesn't even try to pull it back on, because who cares? Everybody knows. It's not, and she can be Reckoning and be Mia Yim without a mask.
Yeah.
Because you just change your name. That's the way it is. You want to fit in, you get a name. My name was Bill for fucking 30 years until I got into wrestling, and then, earlier, 26 years, 27 years, somewhere around in there. Until I got into wrestling, and then I came in like I'm like now, sporting a big bushy beard, because it's not that this is a fashion statement. This is a lazy statement, because I don't want to shave all the fucking time, so I don't shave. So that's what this is right now. This is COVID right here. Lie. This isn't COVID. This is I don't want to shave. So I came in with this big bushy beard, and the guy, when I walked in, I said I want to be a wrestler, and he went Grizzly, and that's where it was for years, and now I still call myself that. Now, my internet handle's Grizzmaster0 from one of the fans. One of the really, there are a couple fans that really had a hard impact on the show, and I think we've talked about it on the show before that, we did. We talked about it with Dusty. We had 2 fans that showed up all the time. They made a real impact in our lives, and I hope we made that impact in their lives. And one of them once called me Grizzmaster0, based off of like Jizzmaster0 from, why am I so horrible about this stuff, man? Orgasmo, yeah. So, I hit too many times. Way too many unprotected shots to the head. Way too many. He called me that, like, based off of Orgasmo. There was a guy on there, Jizzmaster0. So he called me Grizzmaster0, and it stuck, and I just started using it as my internet handle. So yeah, it's been a big part of my life. You can be named something else and still be the same person, and because you're in this group now, and all the group have funny names, so you could have a funny name because that's part of being in the group, right? Now that you're in the group, you're cool. She called Mia. Yeah, everybody would know it's Mia Yim. Hell, the one time she started acting like a crack addict in the ring, the referee kept going, Mia, you okay? Mia. And like, it's not like he's shouting over a crowd of 20,000 people. There's nobody else in the ring. There's about 15,000 people in the ring at the time because that's what wrestling is devolved to. But I mean, he's just shouting Mia. Like, nobody's trying to protect this secret. And then I'm on the internet and I'm like, everybody's like, oh, we all know it's Mia. It's like, yeah, I know. They know we know it's Mia, and they're portraying it like that. So cool. Not to make fun of every internet fan. Some of you guys are dead spot on. But some internet fans are saying, well, that's the way you book a show. And I'm like, you don't even know what that really means, do you? Because if you know what that really means, it's that booking a show has nothing to do with that. That is putting on entertainment, I guess, but still. Anyway. Yeah, this is usually where I would rely on someone else to take the reins and say some stuff. And they would talk for a couple minutes, and that would bring something up for me. But I got nothing else. Let's think about SmackDown last night. A lot of people would give grief to Chad Gable for losing that match. However, I give to you that he looked at Otis and he said, tag me in and I'll finish it.
That's true.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that is true.
So I'm not going to give him any grief on that.
But
SmackDown,
it was a test.
It was a test, yes. And he came on and said, no, that was a test and you failed.
Yes.
Like, he's becoming a great cult leader type thing again, yeah. which works out for me. I really like those type of stories, I guess. I'm sick like that. SmackDown's always the thing that stands out because it's the one that happens right before the show starts. So I know more about SmackDown than the rest of them because I've slept since then. NXT, like I said, I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy the first part when they came out and they said they had like 4 people come out. So Finn comes out and he starts the show and he starts talking, Finn Balor, right? I'm the man type stuff, and then we get interruptions and before I think Pete Dunne's the next guy out maybe, and he comes out and he's vying to put his name in against for that title. Then we got Damian Priest and Kyle O'Reilly came out, and Damian Priest, Kyle O'Reilly, and Pete Dunne start taking shots at each other, and Finn just walks out. And I'm like, that's cool, but it kind of reminds me of something we said on last week's show, which was, if we were having a 4-way, how long would it take us to notice if the wife left? So that's the thing. It's like, it took him a really long time to notice that Finn just fucking left. He's like, you guys don't need me for this. Got out of the ring and took off, which I think was a great moment. I don't know if they scripted that to happen, but if they did, good job. Yeah. But then he gets like halfway up the ramp and Damian Priest stops back because Damian Priest is the it guy right now. I see it. He's a good guy. He's got chops on the mic and he wrestles pretty good. So I see it. Up against Finn Balor, no. I think Finn Balor is a next level type guy, and I think it's really hard to unseat Finn Balor as the champion unless you're going to move him up to the main roster again. But I don't think you're going to, because the whole point he's back there is to give some help, I think. Or he just said, no, I'm going to go back to NXT. I don't know. Somebody knows. Like I said, somebody knows. I don't care. Just so you know, I don't care. I'm looking at what's there now. So, he starts talking back to him, and Finn starts talking, and he goes up, and then, of course, Karrion Kross's music hit, and the girl comes out, Scarlett comes out, looking like that thing in Beetlejuice where somebody picked him up and he sprouted all the thorns, and it hurt their fingers and dropped them, and they got stuck to something. They look kind of ridiculous. I mean, I know what you're trying to go for a Lady Gaga monster balls type thing. Get it. Understand it. But it was kind of ridiculous. And when Priest starts talking to her, she gets this look on her face that's equal parts, why are you talking to me, and equal parts, I really don't want to be here right now, which is what I picked up. But she got through it and everything went off, and later tonight Cross came back, and I think that starts for an interesting thing, Cross versus anybody right now. So there's some good stuff that could happen, and I don't really like that they have a fucking 3-way dance every second match or a 6-way tag team match. I don't even know what the matches were that night. I just know it wasn't holding my interest enough. They finally got Cameron Grimes in there with somebody else. That was pretty good. Oh, I'm slowing down. This is, I gotta tell you, without the co-host to help along, this sucks. This is tough to do. So really, what we came on to do this show for, I was going to call it off, and I decided that no, I need to come on and I need to give something, because last time it was just a message to say we're going to go on hiatus, and that wasn't too long ago that we did that. But I've come to a decision that our health, not my health, not Sheila's health, our health, Hank, Hammer, the people that come here and make this show what it is, and you, the viewer, can say what it is or not, however many people are watching, not watching, listening, not listening. Those people are very important to me. And I feel that I'm doing them a disservice by asking that they come to my house and record this show in person. And the reason I asked them to come and record this show in person is because it just feels better doing it that way than it does over the phone or through a video chat. Because, I mean, if you've had a video chat for any extended point in time, you talk over each other. Some people can't hear that you're talking to them, and the technical aspects of that stuff go through, and it feels just like a phone call. And I don't want this to be a phone call. I want this to be a chat. I feed off of facial expressions and the way things are said and subtleties that you're not going to be able to hear over video chat and things like that. So if we were doing something video, I would have it be like playing a game or some stuff where it's secondary, where I'm watching and where the game is what the focus is. This is the chat that's the focus. This is me looking at somebody across from me and hearing the passion, but seeing the passion that they're putting into something. So I don't want to do remote. I would rather do nothing than do those things. Quite honestly, that's why I've come to the decision that this is going to be, and this is lame for a season finale, but this is going to be the season finale of the Monkey Flip podcast. We're going to put this show on hiatus until we can feel more strong that none of us are going to get sick. Because, like I said earlier, we had the scare where something happened and all of a sudden there's a gland growing that needs to be take attention to. And we're like, oh God, do we have COVID? And the doctor's like, no, you don't. You can even come in here so we can take a look at it. Everything's fine. And then, but what if we did? What if we had it? And what if we're one of the people that don't have symptoms? And we give it to one of these guys that we have in here, or even one of the people that show up as a co-host or something like that. And now we've passed that on. And also what happens if one of the guys has one of those moments. Like I've had moments where I pulled up to a convenience store and went in to get something to drink, got out of the car, got all the way up to the front, looked at a guy getting ready to go into the convenience store. I was like, oh, he's got a mask. Oh, crap, my mask. And I had to go back and get my mask. It's a human nature to just kind of forget that kind of thing every now and then. And you take precautions against it, but I just totally forgot. What if in that moment I touched something or I walked through a cloud of something, or I got closer to somebody that didn't have a mask and it didn't trigger that, and I don't even think about it because, 46 years, I've never had to do this kind of thing. And I got this thing and I don't get any symptoms from it, but I come and give it to my wife, and then these guys come and I give it to them and they do have symptoms of it, or they go to their family members who do have symptoms of it and they get sick. So it's just not worth it at this point to keep going on this way until we get some kind of flattening of this virus. I mean, we're seeing it every day that it's going up and up and up, and now we're getting emergency vaccines come this way. Not really how I want to say that the last show this season is going to go, but I mean, now we're getting into the weekends where we're going to have families and stuff like that, and it just gets closer and closer and scarier and scarier. So I think this is going to be the last show that we put on for a while. This is not the end of this show. I still want to do this. I'm still going to do this in whatever form that I have to do, even if it's just me and Sheila and I have to actually do some actual work, write some things down and some notes and try to figure out what I want to say before we start it up. That's what makes it interesting. That literally every episode that I can remember, I've told you guys, like, we have no agenda. We have nothing that we've written down. We have no format, because we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation about wrestling, and these are genuine conversations. Whatever I've got to do to make it work, I'm going to make it work. So I just wanted to say, well, I'll leave you with the words I heard from Mean Gene Okerlund one time, and it was never my intention to offend anyone. So if I did offend anyone, fuck them. So that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and keep checking in with the Twitter account. I'm still going to do the live tweets during wrestling because I still watch wrestling. I still love it. And then I will give an update as to when I think our next show will be when it gets close to that time. Right now it's up in the air. Everybody knows that's paying attention to this. Maybe it's when vaccines start to become available. Maybe when we see the curve flattening or whatever. But we'll let you know. And if you've listened from A to B, from beginning to end of this season, I wish there was a way I could give you a badge or achievement. It's awesome because I know some of these weren't that great, but we're going to keep putting them on for you or for us. Either way it goes. So thank you for tuning in. And do you have anything you want to say before we go?
I would just like to wish everybody the happiest of holidays as we're going into those.
Yeah, cool. Get everything you need. Get those stockings stuffed in any way that any innuendo that you think that was in there. And I can't really wrap this up. I mean, first of all, let's see if we have any words from co-host Hank. Do you have any final parting words? Excellently spoken, sir. Excellently spoken. And how about Hammer? You got anything you want to say? All right, hammer down. Oh, yeah, hammer down, everybody. Yeah.